Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a recent statement that has come from the interim government and its representative in the Bangladesh, where they are trying to seek scrapping of uneven agreement that they believe exists along the India-Bangladesh border. So in this context, if we try to understand, recently a statement has come from the Home Advisor, Lieutenant General retired Muhammad Jahangir Alam Chowdhury from the Bangladeshi administration, where he has said that Bangladesh interim government would seek to scrap some uneven agreements on the borders with India. And this entire topic of discussion is going to be talked about during the meeting of the Director General. We know that along the India-Bangladesh border, from the India side, it is the responsibility of the border security forces to manage the border. And similarly, from the Bangladeshi side, it is the border guards Bangladesh. So the Director General of both these forces are going to meet very soon in the New Delhi, the capital of India, and that is where this entire topic will be up for the discussion. Not only that, discussions will be held over all sorts of border related agreements with India. That is the viewpoint of Bangladesh. Now, if we try to look at overall before the Bangladesh-India border, so India shares its longest land border with Bangladesh that extend for a distance of almost 4,156 kilometers. Not only that, if you take a look at the border of Bangladesh with India, it passes along the states of West Bengal in the west, then you have the state of Assam in the east, then you have Meghalaya, and then you have the Tripura. So West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and then further as you go to the south, you have the border with the state of Mizoram. So these are the bordering state, and especially related to the Tripura area, there has been a long-standing dispute between India and Bangladesh, because the Bangladesh-Tripura border is a kind of riverine border in many parts, and the river keeps on shifting its courses, and it makes it much more challenging to understand that where India's border began or where Bangladesh's border ends. So it is in these contexts, the border management has become a complicated and challenging task for the Indian security forces. Now, if you go in more detail about the proposal that is coming from the Home Advisor, he has talked about that they would seek to cancel some uneven agreement related to border management alongside discuss other related issues. What are the other related issues? Now, first related issue is about the inter-country railway station, which is situated 3 kilometers inside Bangladesh. The railway station they have talked about is the Kulaura Junction or Kulaura railway station. And in this context, they have stated that the border guard of Bangladesh intends not to allow any free entry, basically of any Indian, that means without any valid permit, visa and all that, and instead proposes that along this particular railway station, there should be a establishment of immigration checkpoint for checking the passport, visa and all other relevant document, with a custom facility as well to ensure that illegal transportation or movement of the contrabands and other stuff does not happen across the border. And interestingly here also, because we know that it is India which is always concerned about the smuggling of contrabands from Bangladeshi side, or the we can say the movement of illegal immigrant from the Bangladesh, but now it seems like it is the situation of kettle calling the pot black. So basically it means that Bangladesh has raised concern that there is a high risk of contrabands, narcotics, drugs moving from India's side to the Bangladesh side, and similarly movement of Indians illegally, Indian citizens illegally from India side to Bangladesh side. So the BGP chief in this context, entire topic of discussion is going to be discussed when the BGP, that is the Bangladesh Border Guards Chief Major General Muhammad Ashraf Uzman Siddiqui, will hold the meeting with the BSF counterpart Daljit Singh Chaudhary. That is going to take place in the month of February between 17 to 20. So apart from the border management, the other issue and concern that Bangladesh is going to talk about is the killing of Bangladesh nationals in the border areas by the BSF, as they alleges, infiltration of Indian nationals. Again, it is kind of what you can call as a laughable kind of stance, because largely it is the Bangladeshi citizens who are illegally migrating and trying to enter into the Indian territory. Common river, as we have discussed before, the rivers here keep on shifting their courses. That makes it challenging to demarcate the border, and smuggling of weapons and drugs, arms and ammunitions and explosive into Bangladesh. And again, this is something which is a kind of contradictory stance, because India has always faced the problem, especially in the early time. Many times Indian security forces have caught a large, we can say, parcel of ammunition and explosive that was being supplied from Bangladesh toward India with the indirect support of ISI. One such instance we have in year 2004 itself. Now, apart from this, if you look at the development of the border, development along the border. He has talked about that many times. He has claimed that from India, many drugs are brought in the name of medicine, which are in fact they are narcotics. And also he has raised a concern about the unapproved development works, largely talking about the single row fencing that is being constructed by India along the border within 150 yards along the border, which Bangladesh believe is in violation of the India-Bangladesh border agreement. Now, what is this agreement all about? We are going to discuss later in the later part of the video as well. Plus, detention of the Bangladeshis by the BSF is another area of concern. Now, also, we have talked about that marking of border lines at the disputed Muhuriri Char area should be taken at the priority level. So, Muhuriri Char is basically a riverine area that lies along the border of Tripura and Bangladesh. And here also we have the similar problem because the Muhuriri river does not flow in a fixed course. Muhuriri river flows in what you can call as a shifting course. So some year it flows towards south, some year it flows more toward north, and that causes a lot of Bangladeshi area either to come toward Indian territory or vice versa. So that is something where the Bangladesh want to make a proper and permanent border line. Apart from that, border pillar installation is what they have desired, and a coordinated border management plan that should be agreed by both the countries. Now, in the beginning, they have talked about that illegal construction is being done from the Indian side within 150 yards of the border. Now, what is this 150 yards? So, actually, if you look at the India-Bangladesh border guidelines that both countries agreed in year 1975, 4 years after Bangladesh was liberated from Pakistan, it was agreed upon by both the countries that within 150 yards from the zero line is referring to the international boundary between both countries, no defense structure can be constructed either by India or by Bangladesh. However, the interpretation of this agreement is something that differs between both countries, because as far as India is concerned, the fencing or the wire fencing along the border area is not considered as a defense structure because it does not have any defense utility. So Bangladesh and Pakistan, on the other hand, refers the wire fencing also as a defense structure. So as far as India is concerned, wire fencing within 150 yards should not violate these guidelines. But as far as the Bangladesh is concerned, they considered it as the violation of the guideline, and that is where the disagreement results. Now, this is also something that is the legacy of the partition. We know that when British left, they divided the entire Bharat or the India into three parts, that is Pakistan, India and East Pakistan, that later on converted to Bangladesh. So about 2,217 kilometers of border along West Bengal and Bangladesh, their partition has happened in such a way that many villages fall within the fencing line itself. Many times also in certain areas, villages and houses stand precisely on the international border itself and becomes very challenging to then demarcate the border. Now, I told you in the beginning of the video that the total length of India-Bangladesh border today stands at 4,156 kilometers. Now, if you look at the status of fencing, as per the report published or submitted by the Government of India in the Supreme Court in year 2023, it has stated that out of this 3,141 kilometers of border have already been fenced. And also, Center had told the court that the India-Bangladesh border fencing project had been hindered due to two major reasons. Otherwise, we could have fenced the entire border except the areas where it is not possible practically. And the two major problems that the Indian security forces and the border road organization have to face is due to the non-cooperation from the West Bengal. Again, because of the legacy of partition, because again there are several villages scattered across the border. And second is pending land acquisition in the state, because obviously if you are trying to do the fencing, you need to first of all acquire the land from the farmers, villagers and all that. So these are the major challenges. And if you look at the West Bengal border itself, which is the longest border between India and Bangladesh, 81.5% of border still has been fenced, and more than 900 kilometers of the entire border along the 5 eastern states that I talked about, including West Bengal, is riverine. And obviously, if the border is riverine, you cannot make fencing in the river. So there it is the we can say it is the water wing of the border security forces. They have been given the prime responsibility to ensure that any kind of security threats do not emerge along the riverine borders of India, and that is why they keep on doing the patrolling, frequent and continuous patrolling in the riverine areas. Apart from that, also the border guideline clearly states that we have discussed in cases of West Bengal and Bangladesh border, many villages, houses are scattered and lying either on the either side of the border. So in that case, wherever villages and houses fall within the fencing line, gates are provided at a specific places so that the residents can be facilitated to move across the border when and wherever it is desired. Now also along with the agreement with the local village councils, panchayats and the local administration, then the border guarding forces decide what will be the timing for the opening and closure of these gates. However, in case of the emergencies, there are a standing instruction given to BSF soldiers to open these gates. So this is what overall the border guidelines talk about. Now, apart from talking about the management of the border and the disagreement largely Bangladesh and India has about the 150 yards and the definition of defense structure, the other areas where the Home Advisor has talked, where the discussion will be largely based around, will be the installation of water treatment plant in the 4 canals, and it is through these 4 canals wastewater flows from India's northeastern Agartala. As I told you, Tripura and Bangladesh shares a long border, and here you have the Agartala, that is the capital city of Tripura. So from Agartala, a lot of wastewater is discharged toward the Bangladeshi region of Akhora. So there also Bangladesh has proposed that a wastewater treatment plant should be built so that the water that is coming or seeping into Bangladesh does not destroy the entire agricultural area and all. And also they have raised a concern that there are many rumors being spread in the Indian media regarding the Bangladesh situation, the evolution of the political situations and all that. So that will also come for discussion because it has created a lot of stress and tension in the Bangladesh region itself. So that has been the overall this, we can say, points that has been put forward by the Home Advisor from the Bangladesh, but we'll have to wait and watch and see that what exactly is discussed in the February meeting between the DG of two forces and where the countries or whether the countries will be having some certain sort of agreement on the common points or not. So that is all about this particular video. Thank you very much.